Hello, we are here to update you on the Amy for Africa mission, and I'm Mark Maynard, and this is Amy Compston. And Amy, a lot has been happening with the Amy for Africa mission here in the last few months, and I know one of the most exciting things was you actually getting to go to Moyo and see some of the people and some of the things that have been done through this mission. You want to talk just a little bit about that?
Yeah, we got to go to Africa in August of this year, and I went with me and then some members of the United Christian Expeditions. We went, and it was amazing. I got to meet most of our students, which is almost 700 children to date, and then we got to go to the 5 schools, 3 of which through Amy for Africa have been built, so that was pretty awesome. And then we got to visit some of the other things like the Moyo Hospital and some of the clinics that we help fund, and just really get to see the needs that are truly there.
It's such a culture shock when you go to a third world country, and I'm sure you experienced some of that with the conditions that are over there.
Yeah, I was not expecting the amount of culture shock that I actually had, and that first day or day and a half, I could barely talk hardly, just because just such overload of the extreme poverty everywhere. You know, I expected something, one building to be nice or just maybe resemble what we're used to in America, but nothing. It was just extreme poverty everywhere, and that's a lot to take in when you've never been outside of the U.S.
And even when you hear that from people, and you know, we've heard that from Brother Floyd Paris many times, you know, the situations that are over there, but seeing it is, I'm sure, brings it more to reality, doesn't it?
It is, because when we see it in pictures, like from Brother Floyd or from mission trips, you see just a glimpse of it. But it's everywhere for miles, for hours and hours and hours, just nothing but needs everywhere. You know, as far as you can, you know, flick a penny, you're going to find 10 needs just within you in that distance. It's unreal.
The roads are rough, and you have to travel a long way just to get into Moyo, into the area that we're trying to help. You want to talk about that a little bit, and some of the travels and some of the ways you have to travel over there, and how that went.
Well, the reason why Brother Floyd chose Moyo to help as his main place to help is because no one else goes there, and it's because it was a 12 to 14 hour drive from the airport, and then the road conditions are so horribly bad. There's no way you could, you know, like basically walk there. You have to have some type of very heavy duty vehicle even to make it there. So, and the roads, you can't, they don't even compare to any road in America. I mean, potholes as huge, like sinkholes basically in the road.
So you're getting jostled, and you're
everywhere. So because of those barriers, no one really goes to help these people. Mm-hmm. So that's why he chose them, mm-hmm. that area out of, you know, all of Africa to help.
How were you all greeted once you got into the area that know him, at least?
Amazing. You know, depending on where we went, when we would go to the schools, we were greeted with song and dance and just extreme excitement from the tribes, from those people. And even at the churches we would go to, just so excited just to see not only Brother Floyd, but that he brought other Americans that care enough to come see them. Mm-hmm. You know, because even their government officials don't come to that area to see how these people are doing. So for an American to come there, they just feel so thankful and privileged that we would even care enough to come there.
Do they know Amy for Africa, you know, what that is, or do they just, you know, they understand at all, do you think?
Now at our schools, they kind of knew who I was because, well, we sent them Christmas cards last year, mm-hmm. and with our pictures on them, so they knew what Amy for Africa was. But the churches and the other village people, not so much. But now they definitely know, and they can't wait for us to come back and just see them.
I know you took a lot of sandals, shoes, that kind of thing, because many of those kids don't have those things.
Yeah.
And you took some candy over to the kids, and and even the adults. And I know you had one or two encounters at least that were special. Talk about those just a little bit.
Yeah, we took 800 pairs of sandals, anywhere from baby size to adult large sizes. And they were just Dollar General sandals, you get for $1, $2 a pair, but those people loved them. I mean, the children were so excited to get shoes on their feet. The adults even. One place we went and we just had adult sandals left, so we let the adults get them. And it was like one of the best things that's ever happened in their life, the way they acted. And then we also gave Tootsie Rolls, just a tiny Tootsie Roll, and we would just pass those out wherever we went, just as kind of a treat. And one woman told me she would never, never forget me because I gave her just a little Tootsie Roll. I mean, that just shows the extreme poverty and just, stuff that we take such for granted, that they treasure.
We know what UC's doing from Brother Floyd telling us, but seeing that, what did that do for you, do you think? I mean, just seeing what he's talking about, it's one thing to tell you, I think. It's another to see it, like we said before. And just like the farm, the model farm and things like that. Can you talk about some of the things that are happening over there because of UCE and Amy for Africa?
Yeah, well, for one thing, my heart is with the children. And now that the UCE is there, and and we've partnered up with them, Amy for Africa, those 5 schools are in areas that never had education ever. So now they have a means of education. Not only that, the teachers, the cooks at the schools, the guards at the schools are all employees of the UCE. So that adds 15 jobs just right there. And then you have the model farm, which the UCE has purchased 13 acres of land, and they're going to actually use that to train the men and women on, teach them, skills, farming skills, how to farm, production farming. Because over there, they don't understand the concept of planting enough for yourself, enough to store back for the dry season, and then enough to sell. They don't understand that concept. So that's why we have made this model farm, not only to tell them, but everyone learns better if they see it, do it, hands-on. But even with the model farm, there's guards employed there. So there's, the UC is not only helping to better the future, but they're boosting the economy just by, hiring these people and giving them jobs. And another thing was the women's training that they've started at one of the UCE compounds, or homes is another word I guess you could use. They're taking like 15 women and training them vocational skills. But even with them, that's producing jobs for those women now and in the future, hopefully.
Amy, the schools over there too, and I know that's the one thing we're really, helping to try to help over there, or the things we've tried to do over there or help the schools. And we always say $45 will educate and feed a child every, throughout a year,
Yeah.
which is kind of what we've said everywhere we've gone. So what kind of education are these kids getting for $45?
Well, I was wondering that before I went to Africa. Not that I questioned Brother Floyd and what he's doing, but, what are the teachers doing at the school? I was kind of wondering that. And for $45 a year, what kind of education are they getting? I was amazed and really thrown back by the level of education these children are getting. All of the teachers are college trained and educated. They all have college degrees, which is amazing. I wasn't expecting that. And then I personally seen second-year students, so 5 years old, because they start when they're 3. So 5 years old, speaking, reading, writing, and interpreting in 2 different languages. One would speak the tribal language, and then the other child would tell me what they were saying in English.
Wow.
Amazing. You don't get that here in America. Not from just public education. You don't get that. And then not only that, they were doing math, they were writing their numbers, counting, singing in 2 different languages. And this is at 5 years old. This is a very high level of education they're receiving. But also because they are excited to go to school. thankful to go to school. You know, it's not like a pain for them. It's something they love and want to do.
Why is it important that they learn English?
Over there in Moyo, they only speak the tribal language. Well, in order to get a job in the cities, so to say, in Kampala and Gulu and these other places where there's more chances of getting jobs, you have to speak English. You have to, because in the city everyone speaks English. They can speak it, read it, write it. And if a Mahdi person and doesn't understand English, there's no way they're going to get a job. So by teaching them English, that is opening up a whole new door, a highway to opportunity for them.
Okay. So they have to, I mean, and their parents don't know English probably.
No.
So these teachers are teaching them and they're learning that language. And the English language is a tough one to learn.
It is a tough one to learn. And when I was there, school wasn't in sessions, but the students and the parents came to school just to kind of like meet us. But the parents came also because the children were putting on a presentation for us. And the parents came just to hear their child speak English. And they were so excited, you know, clapping and just huge smiles just from hearing, wow, you know, like my 5-year-old can do this, you know.
So this really energized you, not that you needed energized, but just seeing all that, I'm sure, has brought a new light to your eyes as to the needs and things that need to be done over there and that we can help with.
Oh yeah, and you know, one thing when I was there, Brother Floyd kept asking me, are you happy with what you're seeing? You know, are you pleased with the progress? And oh my gosh, I was blown away and just amazed by the work that God is doing over there. And you know, not only you know, does it like spur me to want to help them more, but to get more people involved, you know, because I seen the needs are so big. Brother Floyd can't do it by himself. The Amy for Africa team, we can't do it by ourselves. We need the support of, honestly, thousands to meet the needs that are over there.
Mm-hmm. Surely you got to run in Africa. I mean, if Amy's going to Africa, she's got to run. So did you run some and run with the children or run by yourself, or how did that all go?
Well, I did get to run, and you know, it took us almost 2.5, 3 days to get there. So by 3 days of not running, I was ready to run. Yeah. The first morning I went running, I was a little intimidated to go by myself. You know, I'd never been there. I don't know if there's lions or, you know,
yeah,
whatever.
There, huh?
Yeah. So the first day was kind of interesting. Gabriel Lazira, who works for the UC, he said he would go with me, but he drove. And
that's like me.
Yeah, and I followed him in the car. But Gabriel is a 4-time Olympian. So, you know, I was just planning on this short little 3-mile run because I'd just done a marathon before I went there.
Right.
And, yeah, no.
He says
Gabriel took me on a 2-hour run.
Oh, my.
To, he said, to inspire the people in Africa. So, but.
Was anybody watching?
It was so early, but you know, I wasn't expecting people to be up. I mean, it was 5 o'clock in the morning, but the Moyo people were already awake, you know, cutting the grass, not mowing it. They cut it with a machete.
So it was a fun time running in Africa, at least, even though 2 hours was probably a little more than you really wanted to do with that run, but I guess you ran several days.
Yes. Yeah, I ran probably 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
While I could when I was in Africa.
Right. I know you all kept a pretty busy schedule too. There's so much traveling and going back and forth, and yeah. Now, you didn't actually stay in Moyo. You stayed a few hours away, where Brother Floyd lives.
Well, no, we did stay in Moyo the first like 5 days.
Oh, okay.
Brother Floyd actually has a house there, and then so we stayed there for like 5 days, and then. I got sick a little bit, but it really opened my eyes because I got sick and we had to drive 8 hours to get to the nearest hospital that you would want to be seen at.
Wow.
8 hours.
And those poor people, there's no way they don't drive.
There's no way. I mean, they're just pretty much, you know, out of luck really if they get sick. So that really opened up my eyes to a huge need with their hospital. They have a hospital, but when I went, there was no medicine in the hospital, you know, so the needs are great even there. And I think maybe that's why God allowed me to get sick while I was there, to see that extreme need there. But we also, like you said, stayed in Jinja, which is about 8 to 12 hours, depending on road conditions, from Moyo, and where Brother Floyd has another house, and we stayed there the other part of the time.
We've had a busy 4 or 5 months of the second year of Amy for Africa. I know we've been going at it now for 16 months, and currently have raised over $86,000, and all that has gone to the UCE and to Moyo, and just everything, that all the needs that are there, and they're, you know, that doesn't even touch nearly what they have. But you guys have been, you and your husband Chris have been on the run all summer and all spring, and I know getting ready to kind of finish that season. I guess to this point there's 3 marathons left. The Chicago Marathon, which you're both going to be running on Saturday, October 12th, and then the New York City Marathon that you're going to be running the first weekend in November. Yeah. How are you holding up through what will be for you 7 and 8 marathons at the finish of this? You'll run 8 marathons. How are you holding up, and how's Chris holding up?
Well, it's amazing. We started this 8 marathons in 8 states in 8 months in April. There's been 1 a month since, and now going into my 7th one, totally injury free. I had a couple knee aches and pains throughout the summer, but nothing major. I mean, God's grace has just been poured on us when it comes to running and injuries, and or the lack thereof of injuries. And even the other day, acting silly, Chris broke a bone, but praise the Lord, it was in his hand and not his foot. Right. But I mean, God has just showed us grace like that, and we can see it even in the injuries we've incurred, because we can still finish out this season. And if he would have broke his foot, he couldn't have, Sure. But not one injury. We're healthy. We're ready to run this weekend, and we're ready for a little running break also. But it's been amazing, just the grace God has poured on us. I know we're all proud. We're proud of you, and really proud of Chris, who wasn't a marathon runner, and he's taken on 5 to this point and getting ready to do number 6, and also has run some 5Ks. In between all those too, and he's really done a great job of trying to keep up with you. Yeah, literally. Yeah, literally, and his times have gotten better. Yeah, every single time. He has, and it's been awesome because we spend so much time training, or I normally do by myself, and this summer, because we're doing this together and we're on the same training schedule, it's allowed us to spend more time together, even out on the road, and then by ourselves, which is good, and so that's been a blessing in itself, just to have that time with him on the road. We also had our first Amy for Africa 5K, 10K recently here last weekend, and had a good turnout for that, and hopefully the first of many Amy for Africa 5K, 10Ks in the area. We appreciate Alan Osage for putting that on for us in Canova, West Virginia. But I heard it was a great time, and a little cold, but the course was wonderful, and everybody seemed to have a good time. I think the atmosphere was awesome, and there was a little ice storm just for a few minutes of the 5K. But everyone, the spirit there was so great, and everybody, I think, who came had a great time. And like you said, hopefully it's just the first annual, and we'll see the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th annual 5K. We don't know what's ahead for Amy for Africa yet. We're just kind of letting God lead in that direction. But we're proud to be where we are right now, and proud to be being used by God in a great way. Yeah. So anyway, we'll come back another time for an update on Amy for Africa. Thanks for listening.